Instead of telling them to eat from the tree of life, he caused them to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That means we have two types of knowledge. We have the knowledge that gives life, and the knowledge that leads to what? Evil. By that knowledge that leads to what? The good and evil. That knowledge seems to be the best, that is leading you to life. Meanwhile, it is that knowledge that will lead you to your death. It was a tree of knowledge. Meanwhile, there was a tree of life. But he caused them to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Meanwhile, there was a tree of life. The reason why he caused them not to eat from the tree of life, but rather the tree of knowledge of good and evil is this. In the garden, there were two trees, the tree of life and the tree of what? Knowledge of good and evil, like I said. The serpent didn't point them to life. He pointed them to the knowledge without God. The serpent didn't point them to life. He pointed them to the knowledge without God. Because the Bible says, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. Hosea what? Hosea, book of Hosea 4:6. So what if the tree of life was always pointing to one person? What if the tree of life was always pointing to one person? Jesus Christ. Yes, Jesus Christ. The tree of life, the life they rejected in the garden, God sent back to them whilst they came to the world. So I wonder why people think God does not love them. They were supposed to choose the tree of life. Meanwhile, they were deceived to go for the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And instead, after they have chosen the tree of knowledge of good and evil, listen, it looks like knowledge, but in that knowledge was evil. That is how come you know the people around you, the family, your environment, they come as sheep, meanwhile they are wolves. So sometimes in life you come to realize that the very person you trusted so much that you thought was your number one supporter rather ends up to become evil. Why? Because